Let's dive into why Dwayne and Jennifer are speaking publicly about these issues and the scriptural basis for their approach.
Right. They mentioned that they've been questioning church effectiveness for some time now, even before the Mike Bickle scandal broke.
Exactly. They see the Bickle situation as a data point in a larger conversation about the state of the church, particularly the charismatic movement.
And their main goals seem to be transparency and encouraging reflection, both personally and within the broader church community.
They've cited some specific scriptures to support their approach. 1 Timothy 5:19-21 talks about addressing misconduct by elders, right?
Yes, it emphasizes the need for multiple witnesses and public rebuke of those who persist in sin. They see this as a biblical mandate for transparency in dealing with leadership issues.
And then there's Ephesians 5:6-14, which talks about exposing deeds of darkness.
Right. They interpret this as a call to bring hidden sins to light, not to tear down, but to promote truth and healing.
Now let's address this cone of silence they mentioned in church culture. It's an interesting concept. I think of Proverbs 12:17. Whoever speaks the truth gives honest evidence, but a false witness utters deceit. And Psalm 15:2-3. He who walks blamelessly and does what is right and speaks truth in his heart, who does not slander with his tongue and does no evil to his neighbor, nor takes up a reproach against his friend.
Indeed. They argue that terms like gossip and slander have often been misused to silence legitimate concerns within church communities.
And they emphasize the importance of truthful communication, distinguishing between harmful gossip and necessary truth-telling.
Now, regarding the 50 witnesses, this is a significant point. Dwayne mentioned that there were multiple witnesses to the allegations against Mike Bickle, not just one or two stories.
Right, and this ties back to the Timothy passage about multiple witnesses. It's not just hearsay or a single accusation.
Indeed. However, it's important to note that we don't have all the details about what exactly was witnessed. The specifics of the allegations haven't been fully disclosed publicly.
True, and that's part of the complexity of this situation. There's a balance between providing enough information to substantiate claims and protecting the privacy of those involved.
Absolutely. It's a delicate situation that requires wisdom and discernment. The goal seems to be exposing wrongdoing without causing unnecessary harm.
It's clear that Dwayne and Jennifer see their speaking out as a biblical responsibility, not just a personal choice. They're trying to navigate a difficult path of truth-telling while also being mindful of the impact of their words. Well said. In our next show, we'll be looking at some of the challenges and criticisms they've faced in taking this public stance.
Like first, the terminology around grooming. You're right that when behavior continues for years without a specific outcome, it can be challenging to categorize. Perhaps we need more precise language to describe long-term inappropriate relationships or abuse of power dynamics.
Good point. It highlights the importance of being accurate in our descriptions while still acknowledging the harm caused.
Regarding the prophetic versus factual approach, this is a crucial observation. It underscores the need for concrete evidence and proper investigative processes in these situations.
Absolutely. While spiritual insights can be valuable, they shouldn't replace factual investigation, especially in serious matters like these.
Now, about the impact on believers and the ministry. It's a heartbreaking situation. Many people are struggling with their faith as a result of these revelations.
It's a heavy responsibility. While exposing wrongdoing is important, we also need to consider the potential fallout and how to support those affected.
That said, it's important to note that the actions of the whistleblowers didn't cause the underlying issues. They exposed existing problems.
Agreed. And it's worth noting that Dwayne and Jennifer have expressed a desire to help people process and heal, not just to tear things down. But it's been a year and they haven't done anything yet. I guess this podcast is a start, but it's monetized and they are not available or around. They kind of lobbed this at the IHOPKC and hid.
I want to revisit a powerful metaphor that Dwayne shared in the podcast. He mentioned a friend who compared their whistleblowing to turning on a light in a cockroach-infested room.
That's quite a vivid image. Can you elaborate on that?
Absolutely. The idea is that when they started speaking out about the issues at IHOP, it was like suddenly illuminating a dark room. All these problems that were hidden in the shadows suddenly became visible, scurrying around like cockroaches.
And the key point is that they're being blamed for exposing the problem rather than the focus being on the infestation itself.
Exactly. It's a powerful way of illustrating how whistleblowers often face backlash for revealing uncomfortable truths.
It really puts things in perspective. Now, let's look at what Dwayne and Jennifer have planned for future episodes. They mentioned they'll be sharing their personal IHOP stories.
Yes, and I think this is going to be crucial. They've been part of IHOP for a long time, so their firsthand experiences will provide valuable insights.
But some of it's problematic, like are clearly benefiting of the fruit of the teaching of Mike Bickle and the concepts that he trumped and collected and was a mouthpiece for. But really, he was just the messenger, but they've not shared how they parse this yet or where they land on these things. And it's just rough on their dangling that in front of us to keep listening to us. But meanwhile,
all the former IHOPers I know are in sin and alcoholism, and worse because Dwayne struck the shepherd and the sheep scattered, and he was apathetic to the atom bomb that he set off.
Absolutely. They mentioned they'll be interviewing each other, which should make for an interesting dynamic. They also said they'll be discussing where they feel they went wrong or sinned.
That level of self-reflection and accountability is admirable. It's not just about pointing fingers, but also examining their own roles and mistakes.
Right. They also plan to analyze leaders like Mike Bickle. This ties into the broader discussion about how such leaders rise to power and maintain their positions.
Yes, they mentioned wanting to bring in professional perspectives on topics like narcissism, sociopathy, and psychopathy in leadership.
That could be really enlightening. Understanding the psychology behind these leadership dynamics could help people recognize warning signs in the future.
Absolutely. They also want to address the biblical perspective on these issues. Dwayne mentioned wanting to tackle the often misused phrase, "touch not the Lord's anointed." I think no one is saying that much. It's an easy layup. We want to hear why cleaning house at IHOPKC was more important than stewarding the lost sheep whose foundation in the faith was a cult, like with the prophetic history. And
yeah, he was like more biblical than most churches because it was premillennial and had such great theology, and they let the baby go with the bathwater while they think they can diagnose narcissism without the DSM or a doctorate, which is illegal from a therapeutic point of view.
That's a loaded topic. It's been used to silence criticism in many church contexts.
Indeed. It seems like they're really trying to provide a comprehensive look at these issues, from personal experiences to psychological and biblical perspectives.
It's an ambitious undertaking, but an important one. These are complex issues that deserve thorough examination. So